Leinster versus the Scarlets, take two, with the Champions Cup semi-final here a month ago. Take three, really, if you take into account the semi-final in this city last season, which Leinster are still using as extra motivation, and Scarlets as extra inspiration.
Here's Isa.
Here we go on Cup final day. And first catch from Rob Kearney. He, of course, has previously played in Cup finals with his brother Dave. Dave coming back from injury, not in the 23 today. Luke McGrath.
Attacking kick from Scarlets, well received by Kearney. No stress for the opening salvo.
Nice Leinster ball. Ryan did well. He's done so well whole of the season. Cronin took it on. And Sexton to Nathewa. McGrath. Good work from Shingler, leading the defence there. Man of the match in the final last year. Sexton hoists the high one on Steph Evans. It's bouncing around, and it's Conan who's first to react. In goes McGrath. First Gary Owen works. Toner is stopped, but gets it back to McGrath. Sexton nearly forward that.
Your hands, Ridge!
Here's Ringrose. Now a fixture in that number 13 jersey.
No hands, Ridge!
Plenty of early possession here for Leinster, the European champions. On it goes nicely from Levy to Lama. 7 tries in his first full Pro 14 season. And a tour to Australia in Ireland colours awaiting as well. And a start to the career of young Lama. Again, it's Shingler up first to make the tackle. And it's turnover ball for the Scarlets. And Evans is flying after this, and he's making good ground. Rob Kearney always seemed to be in control, and that reaction suggests that he was, but Evans showing his threat. Try score in the final against Munster.
Steph Evans on the front foot, but expect Sexton to put these diagonal bombs on in the first. It won't be the last. Brilliant player, Evans, but he's not the tallest, and Sexton will try and taunt him there. Lama gets up, but James Davis then gets a turnover, and that is vital. I don't think he got one in the semi.
Quickly on with the line out. Leinster, and Ryan taking again. Is now 22 from 22, still to lose as a professional rugby player.
Now Ridge, release on the floor. Tackle. Use it, 9.
McGrath, who captained the side in the February meeting at the RDS, which Leinster won. It's a drawn game, the return not so long after that in West Wales.
Shane, I just look at, we talked about Steph Evans and the diagonal bomb. He didn't handle that kick from McGrath very well at all.
No, and it'll be an area that Leinster will have identified beforehand, and one that they'll look to exploit. Interestingly as well, we're seeing Gareth Davies go into the defensive line, as we saw last time these two played in the European Champions Cup. There was a few concerns when he was caught out in the wide channels the last time out. Let's see how he goes today.
Cronin finding Toner again. Toner, the man in the Leinster squad who put in most minutes in the European action this season. On their way to that title again. McGrath going up the short side and showing his quick feet, trying to get away from the Scarlets cover. On from Furlong.
Penalty advantage.
This time last year was about to embark on a Lions tour, of course. Sexton 2. McGrath looking really quick and sharp. Nothing coming, advantage was being played.
Yeah, very good start from the Leinster scrum half. We've seen a couple of good box kicks, but that was a lovely break there, sniping around the side. If there's one man with anything to prove on this field, it's Luke McGrath, left out of the Island Tour party for Australia. Very clever play from the forwards. They open up space and he takes it.
They did. I would have liked him to give this ball just as the shoulders turned. Evans' shoulders turned there, and he just chooses to step inside him. If he passes that, so it was Davies, if he passes that ball, he might get the return.
Issue there that he touched the ball too quickly under the right arm because he closes the option of the pass, doesn't he then? You can see at the moment that once he does that, that ball can't go away.
Yeah, that's when it should be transferred to two hands. But I think he was always going to caught from behind. If he had to give him the ball a little bit earlier, Leinster could have made more of that opportunity. At this, I know it's early, Stuart, but I think we're seeing Scarlets commit a little bit more to the breakdown, certainly more aggressive than they were, or they were allowed to be last time out.
Sexton with the first chance. It's the first chance that he takes. Johnny Sexton, slight issue with a calf injury last week. It was Ross Byrne, of course, who played in the semi-final, showed the depth that Leinster have. But big day, up steps Sexton, and it's 3-0 to Leinster.
Shane made the point about Scarlets attacking the breakdown, and you want a contest at the breakdown because there's a chance of turnovers, but if James Davis and Shingler don't win ball, you get space for Leinster. That's the other side of the coin.
Patrick, plenty of hang on that restart, and Shingler. Davis to Cummins. Alongside Rawlins form the second row today with Tyke Byrne in the back row. There's Jake Ball out for a long time now, injured. Halfpenny on to James Davis, and a try score in the final last year. And the Scarlets made hay, certainly in that first half. And James Davis scored late on. Rob Evans sets it up. Sampson Lee the decoy. It's Patchell on to Hadley Parks. There's a chance for him to run forward as an attacker in his 100th Scarlets appearance. There's Cummins again. Bravely down goes Levy. Well, they're holding back. And it's a penalty to the Scarlets, and it's almost right in front. No distance whatsoever.
Great carry by Hadley Parks in the middle of it. Easton Asiwa gave him everything he could, but made meters on contact. Great little offload there by Cummins, and the comfort that the second rows and actually all the forwards that Scarlets have in handling the ball across the line. We saw right to left there. It gives them so many threats and the capacity to hold players inside and make space out wide.
Yeah, footballers from 1 to 15 on either side. I thought Stuart Berry did very well there. Tyke Furlong, it's quite subtle the way he pulled Rob Evans back, but the South African referee spotted it straight away. But you're quite right, it's not just the handling skills as well as the Scarlets second row, it's the running lines of people like Evans. They really do understand this game really well in the loose.
Leinster have Sexton, Scarlets have Lee Halfpenny. We'll have two of the best in the business here. Also some pretty good backup as well to both of those kickers out there on the field and on the bench. But Halfpenny was never going to miss from there. It's all square.
And both these teams are really good examples of forward-thinking, progressive rugby teams that demand interplay between the forwards and the backs. They're sort of the new school. They demand a lot more of their forwards.
And we always should demand more of our forwards.
Sexton who does that, and he restarts as well to find Steph Evans, who kicks pretty well himself on the angle down the line. The winger, that's a good response.
Well, he's a little bit tentative because of his height under a high ball, either in a diagonal one or a box kick. but when he gets time, he's got a great kicking game. He can boot it a long way, and he's got a lovely range of little attacking grub kicks.
Taken by Ryan. McGrath, short pass to Lama, who would love to do that. In the tightest of spots, he can still find space. Ringrose, a little flick pass there. And that is speared off by Sexton to James Lowe, who gets himself into the match. Scored a couple of tries in that February meeting I mentioned at the RDS. James Lowe was man of the match that day. So unlucky to miss out on the culmination of Europe, but of course that on the overseas player rule. Patchell gets great length on his kicks. So to Carney, who has time here. He's got the height but not the length that time. And Gareth Davis claims the ball. So advantage here to the Scarlets, and they're going to get it now, the penalty.
Sorry, 5. Yeah, I've got 5 blue in the 10. 5 blue within the 10.
James Ryan just infringing there.
Real sense, though, of threat from Leinster. The first time they got their flat passing game. Ringrose, the delay is lovely there to Levy, and then the second pass, Sexton, he sizzles these balls across, and you get a real touch of class. First of all, Johnny Sexton, lion class in that pass, but Lee Halfpenny one-on-one with James Lowe. Lowe leaves people for dead. Halfpenny just picks his moment, makes a great tackle.
He really does, because the pass has put him in space that he can beat Halfpenny either side, and when you don't have an inside defender to help you tackle, it becomes very difficult to make that tackle on a player as powerful and as good at stepping as Lowe. Was textbook stuff from Lee Halfpenny. Really impressive.
And he's got his reward potentially here with the penalty shot. Still virtually in front, but this time much further out, as you can see. It's a good day for kicking.
He's about 48 metres or so these days, Lee Halfpenny. He's honed his kicking skill to a real pure strike. He doesn't have huge range. He's going to have to give this a little bit.
Oh, he's certainly got the distance.
Got plenty.
And he has sent that ball sailing through.
Yeah, as I said, Miles, he's got about 55 metres on his kicking range.
On a still day.
There's a lot of confidence in that kick, wasn't he? Drilled it.
He spent a life honing those skills and taking them under pressure. You expect that from Halfpenny. Wonderful kick.
Having said that, any player's entitled to a few nerves on cup final day. He didn't show them there at all, which is very settling for his side.
He's signed not to have nerves. And he does.
Yeah, he's beyond nerves at this point in his career.
Sexton. And Halfpenny underneath that. But he's beaten by his opposite number, Rob Carney. Lions both, of course. So to Furlong, who sets it back to McGrath. This is good ball now for Leinster. Ryan. Levy. 13 more tackles from him in the semi-final. The European game between these two. He bossed the breakdown. That's about driving forward. Kieran Healy. McGrath. Listen to the crowd. Conan. McGrath again. Toner ever willing. McGrath skips in. And there is a relentless nature to this attack. Ruddock. Then it's Ryan.
Stay last feet, please.
Conan dips the shoulder. Toner to Furlong. Working hard here, both sides. Scarlets in defence. Trying to hold their line. Hold firm. This is where Leinster really test teams. Did so repeatedly in that European semi-final between these two. McGrath, Levy. Rob Evans makes the tackle, but this now, the pressure starting to tell on the Scarlets. They've got the penalty, Leinster. Sexton spins it. Carney tries the millionaire pass.
Flying the ball down, you're on your feet.
But knew the penalty was in the
Flying
back.
the ball down.
If you want to see the symbiotic in action, watch this. Carney takes the ball, he gives it to his mate Sexton. Sexton looks up, Carney is ready on the charge. The weight of the kick is perfect, the timing of the run is outstanding. That's 13.5 minutes into a game. 1.5 minutes later, Leinster have a penalty kick for goal. Sexton and Carney, they didn't even need to look at each other, Shane.
Yeah, and it's a key element of Leinster's game plan, clearly. I think they really fancy Larmour going up against Steph Evans, and I think they fancy Carney going up against just about anybody.
Yeah. Brilliant play though that was, Miles. It looked so straightforward. Classic example of two veterans, know the game inside out, and they just fulfilled their roles to close to perfection there for the kick and chase.
It's Sexton's turn for an easy one. Go through his routine. But I think we all know what the outcome will be. Level again.
Surely there's danger with Leinster keeping it that simple in the 22 that they become predictable. That just one out pick and go, or just one out runner.
Well, there is, but the question is, if they pound away long enough, do they get the quick enough ball and force the Scarlets infield? That's what happened in the semi-final. I mean, for all the brilliance of Leinster at times this season, there is a simplicity and a conservatism to the way they play. It is predicated on power and accuracy.
Patchell looking to get that hang again for Shingler, but this time it's Leinster who rise. Furlong got through a lot of work in the loose early on.
Pull stay last feet.
McGrath. Not touring Australia, as Stuart was saying. Murray, Marmion and Cooney. Rob Evans. He's trying the semi-final against Glasgow, his first of the season. He's contributed so much to scores for others. There's Carney. Can't get away from Hadley Parks.
Just crying out for someone to come on the short line there.
Aviva to Cronin. Very effective down that channel. The hooker, McGrath. With James Ryan.
Just uses his feet to get over the gain line, and the ball's quick.
Levy. It's good from Kieran Healy. McGrath quickly and again. Sexton, good hands as well. Ringrose, chips. Larmour after this. Patchell. Just really well to adjust on that. That was an awkward bounce potentially.
Sexton took a bang there, but he often does, and he usually gets to his feet, but he's not looking too happy.
And Lefebvre was struggling as well, and has been over the last couple of minutes. James Lowe was drilled that towards the corner. Look at that. That was a 9-iron on the run.
I was about to say, that's Jordan Spieth. That's not a rugby player in Leinster colours. Great technique.
Well, take a picture of that for two reasons, because it was so beautiful and because you won't see him kick the ball very often. He likes to counter-attack.
It was a golf trick shot, wasn't it?
He doesn't kick very often, but when he does, he kicks really well. Sexton just takes a clattering there. Ringrose with a kick.
Stuart, Easton Aviva is leaving the field here.
Yeah, that makes you wonder if he was ever 100% fit, having left early last week. It's an early end, which is disappointing, but the crowd will rise for this man.
Yeah, let's just listen to that. cries of Isa ring out at the Aviva Stadium again. Rory O'Loughlin is on, making the change
Last feet.
much sooner than they were planning. Leinster, as you say, just made half of the game last week before being injured and going into this match with a question mark, as it turned out that they were not fit.
You know, very sad to have to leave the last game he's ever going to play early, but that ovation suggests the sort of esteem he's held in. And you know, speaking to some of the players over the last few months, they're incredibly surprised that he's been able to get out in the pitch as many times as he's had. He's literally been stuck together for the last 6 months, and it shows what sort of character he is that he made it out to the pitch the last number of weeks.
He always shares the lifting of the trophy, as Rob Carney pointed out in our piece before kick-off. Welcome back onto the pitch, of course, at full time if the men in blue have done it. Maybe he'll get to do it himself, but Scarlets will have something to say about that. And has gone forward, but it's a tactic Leinster keep going to, and you can see why.
Terror coming out of the skies. Sexton's high balls are absolutely fantastic, and a very good kick is made into a great kick by the chase, and the chasing is of the highest quality at the moment. We know Halfpenny is good in the air, but these are cruel and testing kicks, Shane.
They are, and the Leinster kick chase isn't going to get any weaker by Rory O'Loughlin get in there. He's very good as well, and I think it's phenomenal stuff by Carney. He manages to knock it back.
I mean, again, Sexton and Carney, just all that experience. A high ball, a chase, is it such a big skill? Yes, it is.
But you're right about the simplicity, and not just the simplicity, but the fact that Leinster will continue to do things over and over again if they're getting good, positive results from it. So we're going to see more kicking. We're going to see them keep it simple in the 22 as long as they keep on progressing.
Can't see that man on the big screens here. 185th and final appearance for Easton Lefewa in Leinster colours.
Just patience on the street.
10 years since his debut.
I'll do my best.
Terrible blow for Leinster losing Lefewa, but I tell you now that the way this game is shaping, Sexton is the man who has to stay on the field. He is just guiding his team with the precision of his boot at the moment, whether it's cross-field or high patch, flat passing. The Scarlets need to get to the talisman of Leinster.
6.
Scarlets need a good scrum here. Rob Evans and Samson Lee in an international battle with Healy and Furlong. Patchell given the space and time to effect a very good clearance there. 6 apiece. Let's get a view from the Scarlets camp. Their team manager Mark Taylor with Graham Simmons.
Miles, thank you. The signature feature, I guess, of the first 20 mark has been Leinster's kicking game. I mean, they're going after you from the air. Could your bomb disposal be a little bit better, do you think?
Yeah, obviously it's a great strength of theirs, and they caused a lot of damage to us in the European semi-final a few weeks back, and obviously we knew they were going to come as an area worked on, but to be fair, Leinster, they are excellent at it. Obviously that's an area we need to try and improve on, but knowing full well, it's just is one of their strengths, and we just have to try and deal with it as best as we possibly can.
A quarter of the way into the match, how happy are you with the way that things are going from the Scarlets' point of view?
Well, obviously it's a better start for us than the last time we played them. I think just defensively we're more aggressive again, more line speed, putting a bit more pressure on Johnny Sexton. And that is helping us. I think last time we were too passive there. So again, it's just one of our key focus areas with physicality and line speed.
Oh, thanks very much. Back to commentary.
It's Graham. Sexton again fizzes one out, this time to the other flank, and Lama right at the start of this move. Rory O'Loughlin got himself into the match, going way over the gain line with a charging run. A tackle from Lewis Rawlins. The referee again playing advantage for the offside against the Scarlets. There's another chance for Leinster to either go for the corner or kick for those posts.
Interesting, Stuart Berry said at the end of that, this is going nowhere, so he goes back for the penalty. Leinster are a team who, to use that phrase, aren't afraid to go nowhere and keep the ball, because there's an accuracy to what's coming off Sexton's boot at the moment, and there's a control of ball that makes Leinster think, OK, we can play this game in the right parts. The Scarlets very much in the game, as Mark Taylor said, and they weren't in the semi-final. I just feel that they've got to put more pressure on the half-back to Leinster.
Serious consideration given by Sexton and his teammates there to go for the corner, but post the decision. Right call?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's been a couple of dodgy calls over the last couple of weeks. Not just going for corners, but tap and goes, and certainly at this stage of the game, go for the post and try and keep that scoreboard ticking over.
Goodness me. Well, got there. That's all that matters. Johnny Sexton gets the 3 points. Not sure he quite knows how.
Well, you fish the flat ones into the wind. I don't think there is any wind. It's a miss hit from Sexton. But that doesn't matter because this is a final. Anyway, you can see there he's healed that one. The ball, instead of going vertically end over end, that horizontal flight is a shocker, but it's a 3-point shocker, and he will take that.
Same tactic on the restart. Down the middle, nice and high. Shingler, they win some, he loses some. That one he's won, and Tyke Burns supported well. It's Cummins, former Melbourne Rebel. Burn again. And just getting in each other's way there. The Scarlets, which is most unlike them.
Scarlets are really lucky there. That's a clear case of a penalty. Rhys Patchell knocks that ball on, and that is not an instinctive reaction in front of him. That is a clear pick-up from an offside position. If you see that again there, I can't understand here how Stuart Berry doesn't pick this one up. Watch Patchell now. The ball comes out to him, knock on, back again, in front of him.
Doesn't get to Patchell, does it?
Leinster were in big trouble if that ball had gone to Patchell. That's who it was meant for. Tyke Burn pulling in behind. Unfortunately, Rawlins just sticks his hand out and takes the ball that's not made for him. There's big trouble for Leinster there around the corner if Patchell gets that ball.
Take it back. It's meant for Patchell. It didn't get to his hands.
Scarlets have looked relatively impressive when they've got a bit of possession and a bit of territory, and they're certainly not they won't be overly concerned at this point. I know Leinster have had a period of dominance, but it's only 6-9 and they know they can score.
They're banging this game, and they're a team who, when they get a few phases of possession, are very dangerous. You know, we hardly see Johnny McNichol with the ball in his hand. We saw how deadly he was in Glasgow last week. And this front row is going pretty well too. The Leinster pack used to bullying their way against teams, but the Scarlets standing up to them. If they do that in the scrums, they stay in this game.
Scott Williams also hardly mentioned thus far. Certainly is an attacking option. Been defending lots, have to defend again here. As Conan makes big strides off the back of that scrum, almost up to halfway there. McGrath is low. Looks to go on the outside of McNichol. Halfpenny. He's got Carney breathing down his neck very soon. Halfpenny on the swivel. Up the line. Does well. Sexton. Because he's been leading the side in the absence of Mathewa at various points. So leadership not a problem to him. It comes quite naturally to him, I'm sure.
It's a bonus, Mars, because it actually forces him to stay calm.
Moving in the ball away to Sexton out of the tackle there. That was mighty tight. Kieran Healy back to McGrath. Here goes Ringrose. Cronin getting a handoff ready. McGrath again to Levy. Hallmarks of the Leinster game here. It's Rob Carney trying to keep the ball in. And he's done that. Flag from Mike Hampson stays down. Well, they've got inside the 22. It's been muscular stuff. More of that now coming from Tyke Furlong. That's a terrific carry. It's carried now for 7 times in this match, and that probably the most effective. They've all been pretty good. And it was Ryan. And suddenly they're in the shadow of the posts and threatening again. As we approach the half-hour mark, Leinster starting to up the ante here.
Scarlets are forced to put a few extra men into the breakdown. At the moment they're defending well, but there's a lot of ball going one way.
Ringrose. Paschal comes flying out there. That was a good decision and a good tackle as well. Rhys Ruddock. McGrath. And again, Sexton. Lama. Tackle from Ken Owens, then he stays still on the ground. This is good from Leinster and Sexton. 20 phases. And getting ever closer. Kieran Healy. Didn't get it down, they play on.
Hold now.
Lowe's right in there. Sexton throws the dummy and he's stopped by James Davis. Still back on the Leinster side. Here's McGrath. Off to Toner. If anyone can reach, he can. That's what Leinster do. And they have done it this season when it matters most. And in this final 10 minutes until half-time, they take a significant lead.
Well, it's all one-way traffic, you know. Leinster have made less than 20 tackles. The Scarlets getting up towards 90. It's not just the number of tackles, it's the intensity of tackles. And when Leinster were able to just retain the ball there, when even Johnny Sexton, with his gangly frame, goes to the line, you think there's pressure coming. It starts with a scrum where the Scarlets have got 8 men down, and Conan spies the space, and that is quick ball, and that gets them 50 metres or so up. You see the little touches there from Johnny Sexton, but in the end, it's Leinster almost like a tractor, Shane.
They're not dealing with Leinster's big carriers. Conan there off the scrum. That time Toner, the latch is perfect. Levy driving it over, but we also saw big carries in the middle of that from Tyke Furlong and Dan Levy as well. So they're just not being able to stop the forward momentum, even when they're getting in on the ball, which they are. The Leinster clean out is just getting them off it. That try has been systematic of what, or very demonstrative of what Leinster have been doing all year.
The work of Levy and Conan there to grab hold of Toner like a big, tall battering ram into the door. Sexton, well, the signs were there with that other kick. It's another poor strike from Johnny Sexton. So he'll ask a question or two about that, but no questions asked about this Leinster attack and Devon Toner's try.
You called him a bit of a battering ram. He's not a human you associate with, that is he? He's long and a bit gangly, but he's a clever bloke. He knows the game inside out, and he and Ryan are having a very influential game. The restarts have been good so far because Paschal has been hanging them beautifully, and Leinster so far have done pretty well.
I didn't really want to call him a long pole.
No, I like a battering ram, Miles, I take it. Something medieval about it.
He knocked that castle door down, didn't he? With the help of his mates, and that work of Levy and Conan was quite superb, as Shane said, the latch. Halfpenny underneath that one. Such a contrast to the first half last year when Scarlets were all over Munster. Can they rediscover that form now? This is good hands from James Davis to Steph Evans. Gareth Davis finds Rhys Paschal. It's the kind of ball they like. Cummins. Paschal. Scott Williams off to the Ospreys. This will be his final game in Scarlet's colours. Lewis Rawlins. Started the final last year, so not unused to this situation. Patchell well tackled by James Ryan again. Off goes Gareth Davis, and he's quick, like McGrath. And that's a good line and a good carry from Hadley Parks. And this is turning into a good response from the Scarlets. Patchell takes again. It's only really good if they can get some points. Here's Cummins. Gareth Davis switches to McNichol, who gets involved in the act. It's taken a while. Cummins again. Davis to Patchell. This is Shingler. Leinster talking about how they feared him as an athlete. And they have to watch him very closely. Patchell again, bouncing off a tackle initially. Samson Lee. In goes Cronin, now he's taken out. Williams to Parks, then it's McNichol, might be an extra man here. McNichol cutting back inside, looks for the offload, he's found it. Steph Evans, not quite there. Excellent work by Cronin, you can see he's just not got it down.
What a turnover, what a chance here.
McNichol short to Davis. And Stuart Berry looks, and Ken Owen signals that he thinks so. Most importantly, the referee does. It is a good reply.
A brilliant reply from Scarlets. Exactly what was needed at a crucial time. You wonder if they could have easily been under those posts a couple of minutes ago thinking this is going to be the same story again, but it wasn't. Leinster get their spacing wrong. Tyburn is exposed by McGrath being a little bit too far away and takes the space.
Well, McNichol gets 2 touches, his first 2 in 35 minutes. The second of them is a decisive one. He gets far enough behind the Leinster gain to keep the momentum going there for the forwards. And Davis is such a predator. He's so strong, he doesn't get there, but McNichol is back the second time, his 3rd touch, Scarlett's first try, and until then, though the score was only 14-6, all the stats were really overwhelmingly in favour of Leinster. Now, I'm not a stats man, but, you know, so many tackles were being made by Scarlets. Leinster's defence, the few they had to make, were in complete control, and suddenly with some quick ball and Johnny McNichol on the ball, then there's a sniff of opening and this game becomes alive again. And you can see there, their stats that tell you the game is going away from Scarlets. It's come back now.
McNichol's returned from injury last week. He beat defenders time and time again. 5 clean breaks in that match, and heavily involved in that attack. Gareth Davis sniping again. And Lee Halfpenny has this to cut it to a 1-point game, and he doesn't. So having been praising the kickers, and why wouldn't you, Sexton and Halfpenny, for all they've achieved, well, they've just gone off the ball a bit there.
And McNichol found that mismatch on Tyburn. One of the reasons was because there was the ruck ball was coming so fast, and Leinster are choosing not to slope the ruck ball. They're not putting numbers in the ruck, and they're saying we'll spread out and we'll make tackle after tackle after tackle. Well, that's no good if the ball could come so fast that you get mismatches like you did, and you've got players good enough like McNichol who can identify mismatches and take them on.
Patchell.
Very important for the Scarlets now, with just 4 minutes till half-time, not to leak anything more. They've been on the wrong end of a fairly comprehensive beating in terms of possession, in terms of the way the game has gone, but they've got themselves back in this game.
But they have a history of playing like that. They're well able to play on the counter-attack, on the counter-punch almost. They don't need a huge amount of possession.
You can see the scars on the players there from the artificial surface in Glasgow. Scarlets aren't too happy about it. Affected training this week in terms of when those players could get back to anything meaningful. They're patched up today, but they are less wounded in the context of the match now. And that try officially given to Johnny McNichol. Gareth Davis thought he'd scored it, and he was trying to point that out to the referee, but McNichol just making sure, and on the official sheet it is McNichol's cup final try.
Yeah, he reacted very quickly. I tell you what, though, that kick from Luke McGrath, that might as well have been a statement saying we've put an X on the chest of Steph Evans, because it wasn't a very good kick, but it was slower ball, and they thought, what do we do now? Bomb it on the left wing.
But I thought the ball was good enough to move.
Yeah,
and if
I
you
did.
don't move that ball, then you need to execute it properly. And Rob Kearney really gave it to McGrath there when he saw he couldn't get challenging for the ball.
In goes Ty Byrne and steals it, and Shingler looks to show he is that athlete that Leinster are worried about. Then it's Davis to Patchell, to Parks, to Williams. Halfpenny waits. It's gone through his hands, but Nicol boots it on. It has gone forward, clearly. And Leinster will put into this scrum in half-time now, just around the corner. Shingler down.
Shingler down, that'll be a bit of a worry for Warren Gatley. On the other back row, Ty Byrne, sign of what a fine player he can be. Sniffs that steal, and then a lovely little offload. Ooh, and even before the tackle there, he's suffering. Great piece of play from Byrne, who tours with Australia, and there's the moment of grimace there just before he gets to Sexton. It's jarred there.
The man of the match in the final last year, hurting at the moment, and it looks like his final might, well, be about to come to an end in 2018. As you say, Warren Gatland will be concerned about this. The Scarlets players joining up with the Wales squad. They fly early flight in the morning to join up before Wales head off on their summer tour, and Aaron Shingler at the moment is looking in a whole load of pain there. But his side have brought themselves back into the match at 14-6. You never say Leinster was sitting pretty, but they were starting to play exactly the game they wanted to play. It was bringing them reward on the scoreboard.
Miles, they looked in control, only 8 points in it, but the game was shifted in the part of the field they wanted it to be. They were playing fairly risk-free rugby. Scarlets were getting nowhere. As Shane said, they were able to just defend from one touchline to the other, and in the end, one bit of quick ball, and Johnny McNichol, and that ability that he has to just expose the smallest gap between players, gets them over the gain line, and it gives the Scarlets the first chance, and they take it, and he's the man who takes it. Tremendous player. I felt in the semi-final, when he was missing, they missed him very badly. No halfpenny, but McNichol even more. He gives them an ability, not on the wing, but all over the field. The former Crusader reads the game wonderfully. He was brilliant at this stage of last season. He's been playing superbly now. Unfortunately, Shingler's off.
To be replaced by Will Boyd. And Shingler. Well, it's good to see him actually walking off. With that pain no doubt lingering, it's more mental anguish now, realising that his final is over and his international involvement in the foreseeable future as well in question. Won't go too early on that, but it's not too good for Aaron Shingler, and applauded off the pitch by his teammates and also this big crowd.
It's always a good sign, though, in a way, if you walk off the pitch, you know, if you've done terrible damage, then you're going to be stretchered off. So hopefully, you know, the Scarlets medical team can get to work on him quickly, and then the Welsh team, and we can see him playing some part in the tour. He's had another tremendous year.
That's why you leave it to the doctors and you do not speculate.
Absolutely.
There's Conan. Final minute of this first half. Is there another score in it? Furlong again. Impressive. He's caught the head of Ken Owens on the way through. Owens is all right. Sexton, another high one across. Evans is going to leave it to Halfpenny, and he never looked in position to take that. Kearney. McGrath. Well, that's gone forward. no advantage from the knock-on. Lee Halfpenny looked unsteady underneath that one. You could put money on him dropping it, which is not normally the case.
A little bit of the Leinster Inquisition here. Sexton's got his rack out and he's tormenting the Scarlets at the moment. I've got the feeling, Miles, we're sort of quite a long way back here, but there's gusts blowing now and again, and I think there's a little bit of wind causing problems there. Halfpenny's one of the best under a high ball, and as you said, he never looked comfortable, and Sexton loves this sort of condition. It gives them one last chance to re-establish a lead that, frankly, they look more than worth 3 points. Scarlets, crucial now to get into the tunnel, just 3 down, regroup, work out their plan.
But lost Shinglen going into the game without John Barclay, of course injured early on last week. But then Leinster will say Sean O'Brien, Josh van der Fleer, absent from their back row for quite a while now. Sexton crossfield. Oh, Lowe's in space here. Lowe will take this on the run. Halfpenny's got all on. Makes another good tackle on James Lowe. Ball comes flying out and hand in there. Well done Lowe, but also well done Halfpenny. Lowe's run wins the penalty, but Halfpenny certainly stood his ground, not for the first time in this first half.
Sexton's tearing the Scarlets' defence to pieces with his crossfield kicker. He's like a young kid with a butterfly, just pinning him on the wall. It's just horrible. If you're a Scarlets fan at the moment, he really is just stretching them one side and the other. Problem now, Miles, as well. Shingler, tremendous back row forward, but also a key line-out man. A little bit better than Boyd, but don't have that line-out presence where he's so good.
And what a crucial line-out we have here. In time added on in this first half, can Leinster snatch another score, which could make such a difference? Listen to the crowd getting behind them. Cronin has it. It comes to ground. Referee holds out an arm. And that was going towards the try line at some speed, and it was collapsed by the Scarlets, and it's just going to be a penalty, I think. Sexton in the referee's ear there.
Not for the first time in his career. Sexton will say, OK, we did it once, you didn't give a penalty, we'll do it twice. How about a yellow card? Penalty try if they bring us down. And that's the problem for the Scarlets now. They've been penalised. They know that they can't get away with sacking again.
Yes, they got the penalty. What they want is the try or the penalty try. And Cronin just checks. How is it moving? Well, it's not moving at the moment. McGrath goes, Sexton, on to Lowe! The man who's denied the chance to appear in the Champions Cup final has his cup final try. James Lowe.
Moment of the match so far, Johnny Sexton's hands there. Been talking about his kicking game and the way he's just stretching the Scarlets. This is very clever from Leinster. The Scarlets are waiting for that big forward surge. Luke McGrath snipes round right to left on the short side. First of all, it's a really good take on the stretch right-hand palm there from Devtona. But watch this, Scarlets are tied into it, but this is a glorious piece of handling. Sexton, just watch the straight line he runs. He stays square, just holds McNichol. Lowe allows it to go across his body so that he could fend with the right hand. Classy try, brilliant play. Sexton, the architect of that drive.
And McGrath too, who once more set it off from the base. He's seen the space and he's proved that point that he was looking to prove, hasn't he, Luke McGrath? And that combination between him and Sexton working beautifully again. As you say, Sexton's hands, top draw, and a lovely finish from Lowe, winning the battle of the Kiwis there, Lowe against McNichol. And Sexton tries to get the 2 points, which he does. He's finding ways with those kicks. And Leinster have that healthy lead again, 21-11 at half-time. And with that try on the stroke of half-time, scored by James Lowe. You just wonder how important that will prove to be. Half-time, Leinster 21, Scarlets 11. So here we go for the second half. Leinster, top try scorers in the PRO14 this season. Scarlets statistically had the best defence, and at the moment it's the try-scoring Leinster side with a hold on this match. And the historical stuff, as we know, going for their first ever double. Not done that before when they won the Champions Cup 09, 11 and 12, didn't get the domestic title. And also Leinster going for their fifth PRO14 title, which would set a new record, equal to lose in Europe. For the Scarlets, looking to be only the second team to retain the title. Leinster were the ones who did it previously. So that's what's on the line. And there is 40 minutes of this season left to sort it all out.
Once again, Johnny Sexton goes straight at Steph Evans. There's clearly a plan there, Shane. He's a good kicker of the ball. That time he ran, it's almost as if just once he's going to be tempted and will swallow it up. Every restart, he's banged straight onto Evans.
Cronin throws. Again, it's that man, James Ryan. So impressive again today. Cronin's good pass to Rory O'Loughlin, who replaced the unlucky Ethan Athewa. How lucky Leinster have been to have him for the last 10 years, and what an ovation he got as he left the field in the first half injured. Luke McGrath. When it boils down to a point we were talking about at half-time, fourth choice scrum half at the moment in Ireland. Luke McGrath, fourth choice. Wow. Sexton, and then Ringrose, and Lama trying to get across, but so too is Halfpenny. Now, did he have to play it and take it out? Yes, according to Marius Maitreya.
It's what you want, Miles, from a midfield. Sexton is able to draw the Scarlets because the quality of his hands are so good. And then Ringrose, he does this time and again, the percentage kick into the corner.
Yeah, and if you can't get the ball to your winger across the face of Steph Evans, and I can understand that would be a high-risk pass. Instead, he puts the ball in behind, gives Larmour a good chance to get it, but also forces Halfpenny to take the ball into touch.
So it's Leinster ball, and a chance here to go again, but Conan leads a breakaway. Such an effective tactic in that closing stage of the first half. Got the put into the scrum.
Oh, it's a perfect start to the second half for Leinster. You know, they finished the first with a try, momentum going their way. They've started the second half, they've pinned the Scarlets in this corner of the pitch, and they're keeping them there. And we saw in the first half, when you looked at the carries and the tackles made, they're very happy to just pin you down and keep the pressure on. And as the boys were saying, you know, Sean O'Brien, we've been coming out of territory with points.
Somehow Ken Owens and his Scarlet side have got to weather this, and it's going to be tough. His first 10 minutes of this second half. Leinster coming out with great intent.
Cuts! Bind! Sit!
Conan's looked a dangerous carrier today.
He always does. Such competition in that position, not just with Ireland, but also Leinster level too. McGrath to O'Loughlin, 7 tries this season in the regular campaign. Certainly been part of it. Gareth Davies can't intercept. Johnny Sexton's got a chance to create a little bit of mayhem here. Will Boyd, who replaced the injured Aaron Shingler in the first half with that tackle. And as Leinster can't free the ball from the bodies, they'll come back for the knock-on.
Nothing fancy there from Leinster, but really well executed, very strong scrum. Almost thought they were going to keep it in and nick a penalty, but they had to deliver the ball. Great pass, really flat to O'Loughlin, who's fitted into the backline seamlessly.
It looks like O'Loughlin was ready for this game, doesn't it? He's come in and he looks like he's trained all week. Very quick there. Crowd were a little bit booing. They thought the knock-on was deliberate. Touch and go, but I think from a Leinster perspective, I don't think they'll mind a scrum 7-8 metres out. middle of the park.
We've got stability.
You know, you think of the threats they have, particularly on the wing, the footwork they both have. Probably a little bit more footwork from Larmer, a little bit more power from Lowe, but easily they can get the ball to either of them and make something happen.
We should mention Barry Daly, who's top try scorer of the competition this season, not going to sniff being part of the final squad. But that is the strength of Leinster, the options they have in all positions.
It's the difference, Miles, between finals rugby and league rugby too.
Here's McGrath and Sexton, and then Ringrose realising there's a chance to go on the arc there. McNichol and Parks with the tackle, and then it's Ruddock. And the Scarlets know they've been here before in a final on this ground. They know how critical this next score could be. They did it to Munster last year, and they were 29-10 up at half-time. Lama is crossfield here, it's bouncing around, it's gone forward. No advantage. Penalty for offside again, given by Stuart Berry.
You breathe deep, though, don't you, when that crossfield kick goes to Evans? It was close again, and Ringrose, his option making is good. It wasn't quite on. He holds the ball.
Look how strong that scrum is. Perfect position to tackle from. It means that McGrath's very flat. It means Sexton's flat and allows Sexton to throw a flat pass. And it's not rocket science, but it's just a very well executed gain line play. It's very difficult to defend.
And the other thing, Miles, Racing slowed Leinster down. Last week, Munster slowed Leinster down. At the moment, they're starting to get from first phase, second phase, quick ball, and when they get quick ball, it's like a waterfall. They will burst the dam. Scarlets have got to slow this ball down.
And they can sense it's now. They can taste it here, Leinster. They have gone for the scrum, not with a very kickable penalty. It was a guaranteed 3 points. They're going for more. Again, it's very solid up front. Conan goes, McGrath caught the eye, went the other way. Conan takes the ball. In goes McGrath quickly again. This is Ryan. Turner's already scored in this match. Now he's trying to provide the shove, but it's the Scarlets scrapping and surviving. James Davis came away with the ball. Gareth Davis can see it, and the Scarlets stay alive. They will get the put-in.
On the ropes, but that's great defence from the Scarlets. I think Leinster will be frustrated. I know nothing came of it, but I still think Sexton, as captain, made the right decision there. Everyone in the ground, there was a feeling, wasn't there, that this could happen.
We're pretty happy. You got to trust it is. So can you check? No, I'm backing my decision.
Shane, you're quiet there, as if 3 points would have been the option.
Yeah, I think I would have kept the scoreboard just ticking over. And I think there's a number of times the Leinster sort of got away with that so far this season, so I wouldn't go against the option, but it looked as if for all the world there was going to be a try here. A little bit of a high carry, I think it was by Rhys Ruddock, was it? And he got turned over. First, that's Lowe.
Scott Williams, who got it. Scott Williams with the turnover.
Geez, how many turnovers has Scott Williams made in his career at Scarlets? Going to the Ospreys next season, he's been a tremendous asset here, and he's still one hell of a competitor.
Instead of the first half, I haven't really seen him as an attacking force, but he has delivered defensively today against Scott Williams. And the way he kept going at the end of the semi-final was a great tribute to him and to the Scarlets, but they have no intention of leaving here as brave losers. They want to hold on to that crown, and that turnover might just allow that. They've kept themselves in the game.
They have. That's a very impressive exit. It's exactly what they wanted. They retained the option to move the ball wide. I thought they were going to keep it in hand, but no. The option to kick the ball and have a line out at halfway, although you're defending it, that's a decent exit from right on your goal line.
Well, it's a good angle. Gareth Davis very quick. He's able to go 5 metres. He gives the ball to Patchell. Very good kick.
Well, we've got an injury update, actually, so let's go down to Graham Simmons. Graham.
Nice, yes, thank you. A rueful-looking Irish English just popped out down the tunnel here on crutches. I said to him, any good news at all on the knee? And he said, I don't think there's going to be any good news. It just feels too painful. So we wish him well in his recovery. Back to you.
Doesn't look like an early flight for him, then. Levy positioned himself to find Cronin, just waits for his hooker to come around there. The quality of the ball won by Toner and Ryan has been so consistent.
That was a very solid piece of defending from Scarlets, though. Really good.
Here's Healy. Sexton, Ringrose, Sexton. In goes Scott Williams again, dislodges the ball. Patchell, chance here for the Scarlets to get away. Parks, Steph Evans is chasing it. Stays on his feet. But little Luke McGraw has done really well there.
Leave it now, Red.
Again.
Sexton got very badly hit. Tough shot came in just as he tried to round the corner on that loop play.
He's still down near halfway.
Scott Williams gave him a right old go in that. It looked initially as if it was pretty legal. Great defence from the Scarlet.
There's Luke McGraw. No fly half to feed it to, but his thought anyway was to take the kick on himself. Sexton back on his feet.
Oh, he's not happy, is he? He gestured there to Scott Williams as Williams went past. We'll see now.
We're going to check that potential foul play tackle now.
It's technically not a tackle, is it? I don't think, Shane, it's a second.
I think it's a tough tackle. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think he's tried to wrap him. He's hit him hard. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with the tackle.
I think that's in that high area where you're going to get penalised. I don't think it's as bad as 40-odd thousand people in Dublin do.
Sexton not held by the fact that James Davis arrives and compounds the feeling of being a little bit beat up there. First by Williams in the tackle, then you'll see James Davis comes in, bang.
Well, actually, the James Davis thing might be the issue.
Yeah, have you got a clear picture on where the contact is? And first, Paddy, have you got a clear picture on
I love Sexton's reaction, though. He gets up and he is livid. He's pointing fingers. He wants a bit of action.
Let's listen to the ref.
And then as he goes to the floor, there's a second high contact by 7, Red, as well.
By 7. Okay, are you happy that we're dealing just with a penalty for the fact that it's ended up dangerous, but there's no clear indication as to where the first contact was?
It's not dangerous, it's just a penalty.
And have you got a number against red for me?
Yeah, it's 13.
13. Just 13?
Scott Williams initially.
13. Yeah, that's a penalty on you, but we just need to make sure we're keeping it up.
I love how the referee holds up fingers for 13.
There's clear guidelines just around Davis' play. Okay, so it's unclear as to where the first contact is, but it has gone high, so it's a penalty on you. Yeah.
Shane, you're gesticulating like some crazed Latino. What are you thinking, man?
I do think that the initial tackle was legal. Maybe there was a slight slip up, but I just think it was a very, very physical, hard hit that is part of the game.
Well, Scott Williams is not happy about it. You can see from his reaction. Johnny Sexton still ticking.
Oh, there was a lot of verbals afterwards between the two of them.
Interesting if they meet again. Sexton going for the corner. And he's hit the line. Down goes Malice Betrayer. Well, he might have been ticking, but he stayed concentrating on what he had to do. And that was take his side right down into the corner. Just look at this kick. It is high quality.
Well, if you think that you have been sinned against, that is the way to counter-attack. Brilliant.
Cronin throws. Ryan takes again, and suddenly, because of that penalty, there is a massive momentum shift here. McGraw on for Healy, and part of this. Oh, Cronin's got it! In Bilbao, it was a different way to victory, but this Leinster team, seemingly this season, can have it always. That is a massive try in this Guinness PRO14 final.
The one has to say, was Steph Evans badly positioned for the kick that Sexton just dropped on a dime. Thereafter, from that position, Leinster's forwards threatened to do what they've been doing all day, and come away with what could be a killer score. Variety everywhere. Ryan and Toner have worked beautifully in tandem. Once in the first half, the Scarlets pulled it down. This time, no. And Cronin, he's got that dynamite over 5 metres. That means when he shuffles off there, you're not going to stop him. Great pace.
Absolutely immaculate from Leinster forwards. And as soon as Owens committed to the maul, which he had to do, then that man took his lead and broke off the back for a fantastically worked try. And I know Johnny Sexton might have been angry with the shot beforehand, but that forward pack had that maul going like they felt an injustice against their 10, and you know, packs like to protect their 10, and particularly when it's a player like Johnny Sexton.
Well, they will have calmed their captain down now. Johnny Sexton has a conversion. It's already a significant lead, and it's going to get bigger. Sexton with the conversion. Leinster 28, Scarlets 11, and now it looks a very long way back for the champions here.
Ken Owens just makes the move in, and as soon as that happens, the reaction from Sean Cronin, and we've seen that salmon-like dive a few times.
Brilliant take from Toner on the restart.
That was wonderful athleticism from Toner. Again, Leinster's restart work has been immaculate.
Lama chasing. Halfpenny gives it to Levy in the end. McGrath. Halfpenny's trying to get back in position. He's swiveling all over the place. Where's that ball? Up goes Conan, takes that, and there could have been issues. Now, was he allowed to take it? Was he taken out in the air? Scarlets want to get on with it quickly. There's no penalty being given. There goes McNichol, out wide to Scott Williams. Oh, they're looking for him. Scott Williams sets it back. Scarlets, well, there's one team who will go for it. It is the Scarlets, but they've sort of got to go for it now. Steph Evans, look for support. Lee Halfpenny. Great skills here from the Scarlets. Try and bring that ball away. And they get the penalty. Gareth Davis with a quick tap. Look at the pace on the game now. But he's just coughed that one up to Ruddock. Might have just been one pass too many there. Ringrose charged down. Rory O'Loughlin has it.
Up now, Ridge.
Players from both sides just sucking in the air here. Not so McGrath, maybe. He's the new man. Oh, that's Jack McGrath to Luke McGrath has been on from the start, of course, the scrum half.
Leave it, Ridge. Release, Ridge. Thank you.
Here's McGrath again, Luke McGrath to Rob Carney. Tackle from Boyd. Jack McGrath.
Tackle release.
Set the record for replacements in this final. Replacement appearances, Jack McGrath. He's got his chance to influence it once again now, and that one doesn't break for the corner. And Johnny McNichol is a very relieved man.
And Johnny Sexton's perfect kick-in is finally off target. Crowd were very upset about Halfpenny. They thought that when Conan's going for this ball, he's pulled back. But once Jack Conan touches the ball, he's in control of it, and Halfpenny is entitled to make that tackle, even though he's not there.
It's interesting, the risk quotient that the Scarlets are playing with has just doubled. They know that's the only way back into the game for them, but at the same time, it poses an opportunity for Leinster.
Samson Lee goes off, and also Rhys Ruddock. Samson Lee replaced by Werner Krier for the Scarlets, and the man coming on for Rhys Ruddock was the man of the match in the Champions Cup semi-final between these two, Scott Fardy. It certainly doesn't get any easier for the Scarlets.
I'd pick up on what Shane was saying there. The Scarlets now are forced to really take risk in the way they're playing. There's no longer now the prospect of a narrow defeat. There's also the big possibility of a heavy loss because they're taking risks in the game. Leinster will be delighted with the way they're now being forced to play.
Well, last year was the highest score in the final from the Scarlets. 46 points they scored that day. They're prepared, as you say, to ship them today. If it means they go down, they're going to go down in a blaze of glory. That is their way, but it is also their only way back in now to play the risk game.
And I think they're one of the teams that can really do it. Their game is made for it. They've proven it last year, they've proven it this year. They're very highly skilled players, so that extra risk could prove very, very complicated for Leinster.
Yes, if there's any side can do it, it's this side, and here they go again as Parks gets it out to McNichol. Tyke Byrne scored that consolation, if you can call it that, at the end of the Champions Cup semi-final, but Leinster foraging for that ball. They've got it, turnover. Here's James Ryan.
That's fine, he's not in the way.
They've got that ravenous look, Leinster, today. I don't know if there's anything the Scarlets can do. This is European form.
European champions now, the confidence that comes from that as a group. McNichol's take was excellent. Patchell. Scott Williams resorts to the boot, but Lama's got it covered. Well, he did until the bounce. Still managed to haul it in, and then he sets off, and he's first in the race here. This is Jordan Lama to all but win it. Oh, what a pickup! He picked up the ball. He might have picked up the trophy too. Jordan Lama, the youngster. And Leinster's double is in clear vision now.
Well, Stevie, our cameraman, he's an inscrutable man. You never see him smile. He was pumping the air then. At the moment that Lama just scooped that up, there was a pause. Shane's on my right. There's this feeling he's going to do it, isn't he? First of all, you think, oh, the ball has gone against him. It's a lovely kick. Then you realise it's back against forward, and will he just compose himself for the scoop? One-handed, doesn't break pace. Horgan, that's you at your best.
That is what you do when you're a kid. You practice in the backyard, running around, scooping the ball off the ground, pretending you're David Campese in my era. It's Jordan Lama now.
Oh, he's pretending he's Shane Horgan.
That, you're so right, is exactly what dreams are made of. Jordan Lama scoops it up.
The awareness to get back, cover the kick in behind, pick it up, know that he's the no one in behind, and a perfect kick, and then he just got on his bike.
Well, it broke away from him as well. He had it covered, then he didn't, but he hauled it in, and then he had the vision on the turn to see exactly what was in behind. And as hard as Will Boyd tried to chase it back, he was never going to win the race against Jordan Lama. And now, surely, Scarlets are never going to win the final. This is a winning lead, regardless of the conversion. They won't give it up. There's a quarter of the game to go, but now it is the proverbial mountain. Just look at this again from Jordan Lama.
I'll tell you what, it's a great position for Leinster, and it's a final moment, but he's needed this because the last few games when he's been on the pitch, the ball hasn't really broke his way. Leinster haven't got width on it, and it was just a reminder for a bloke who hasn't been at his best since Christmas that he has something else to his game. Toner, he's got that something special in the air.
James Tracy on for Sean Cronin, and also Andrew Porter off the bench for Tyke Furlong. So once again we see the depth that Leinster have and the quality they are able to bring onto the park at this stage of the match. Graham Simmons.
Thank you, Dan, here with John Fogarty from the Leinster backroom staff. You appear to be on your way to Bilbao all over again. Haven't we seen all this once before? How good's the feeling right now, John?
Yeah, it's good for now. We've got 20 minutes left, so we've got to stay focused for now. But yeah, we've done well in this second half to put them under pressure again. I think that's what they need to feel. They need to feel pressure the whole time now so we can get this result done.
To what extent did you tweak things at half-time, bearing in mind that you had that 10-point lead going into half-time, John?
I think, like I said, pressure. We needed to keep applying pressure. There was pressure on the scoreboard, but defensively we still sat down a little bit. We needed to get off the line at their shapes, at their forward shapes in the middle of the field, put them under pressure and force them to play catch-up.
A ball in hand, what have you liked about the way your team have played today?
We needed to carry well against Scarlets because we've seen before us come undone on the ground. I think we've carried quite well in this second half in particular. We're looking all right.
The beauty of having this kind of three-shot lead going up the 18th is that you can smell the roses a little bit, which does help, doesn't it?
Yeah. you know, we're happy right now, but we'll be happier when this game is over.
I bet you will. Well done, John. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Blue on the arm and 17 underneath. So
And Scarlets making changes of their own. Wyn Jones on for Rob Evans now in their front row. Again, quality brought off the bench. It's a mark of both of these sides, but Leinster, well, they're proving today that, well, they're showing more of it today, aren't they? And look at that scoreline. It does prove it.
Miles, final scoreline, 22-point margin when these teams met here in the semi-final of the Champions Cup. With 18 minutes to go, at the moment, it's the same 22-point margin.
Davis to Patchell, and Patchell going here. Tackle from Rory O'Loughlin, did well to get back. Patchell stretching Leinster. Tyke Byrne, his final game before he joins Munster next season. James Lowe, well, he's trying to get on the end of this and a hack downfield. Lee Halfpenny was, so here we go again, but well done Hadley Parks. Got back to help out. Look at that from Parks. Gareth Davis. Lewis Rawlins.
Hold.
Halfpenny, and then nice work from Steph Evans. Offloads to James Davis. In goes Parks. That's going to be a penalty. James Lowe seems to have slapped that one forward. I think that was pretty clear to all concerned.
I think with anybody else you might think, was he being a bit cynical, but with James Lowe, he's normally trying to keep the ball in play.
Yeah, he's anything but cynical, isn't he? As a human being, as a rugby player, he always sees the positive. Sexton goes. Sexton sublime today.
A hero to these supporters, and pretty obvious why when you see him play like he has today. On comes Joey Carberry. Again, a fine replacement to be able to bring on. And Dave Bulbring is on for Lewis Rawlins for the Scarlets in the second row.
Not a player to shut down the game, though, Joey Carberry.
Oh. But just the basics were brilliant. The skill level so high. The only thing you can say is he didn't actually strike the ball very well off the kicking tee. Everything else, immaculate.
Scarlets trying to get themselves back into it somehow here. He's got to start somewhere. And then Parks to Patchell. Halfpenny, there's space for McNichol out wide. Can he get it in the corner? It was always going to be tight, but McNichol, who scored in the first half, looks like he has got one in the second, but it has to be confirmed.
Yes, Jude.
It's always going to be close.
Try or no try, stand by.
Superb transference of the ball into the right hand. He's got that rugby league flying take. Switches the ball now, so he's in control. It looked to me, Shane, first go, that this is a very fine finish. It is
sensational try.
Wonderful.
Sensational finish. It was moved across the back
got a decision for you.
really well. You have to say James Lowe made an error in defence again. He came in when he didn't. He didn't trust his inside, but that deserved a try. It was so good.
That is a cup final finish to treasure from Johnny McNichol, his second of the day. He knew exactly what he had to do. As soon as he got the ball, he knew it was going to be tight. He knew what angle he had to run, but he was readying himself for the type of finish that he produced.
He hasn't had that much ball today, but when he gets it, this guy just oozes class.
And he keeps the final breathing, and so does Lee Halfpenny with that conversion. 33-18. There's still a lot of time to play here.
And Sexton's off the field. Halfpenny, he knows he just get it out wide, but there's a lot of work to do because Ringrose is a high-class defender, and Gary Ringrose is flat out, full tilt there, just transfers that ball to the right. Great control on that finish.
Patchell made everyone panic with his pace and running upfield and delivered the ball just at the right time.
Carberry restarts. Off goes Scott Williams. Taking the ball in two hands, keeping the tacklers guessing. Here's Patchell, and there's a nice line being run by Parks, who is doing an awful lot right again. Gareth Davis. Well, it's clear the Scarlets still believe. Patchell. Parks. Excellent the way this ball is being taken out of their own territory towards halfway. There's Cummins. And the ball just lost.
And it seems strange at 33-18, but Leinster would be relieved that ball was knocked on. A little bit of momentum for Scarlets all of a sudden. The pitch looks a bit wide. There's gaps in between the Leinster players.
So I'm going to chat about you now.
You need to tighten this up and squeeze out this game, as we've seen them do many times before.
Yeah, and just a moment's doubt. Scoring the try within about a minute and a half of your playmaker, your captain, your controller going off the pitch. Suddenly it's, you know, where's the bloke who just says, hold on, take your time, let's just bang this down into the corner. Joey Carberry comes on, a brilliant player, but a different sort of player. So the pulse just goes a little bit more.
Johnny Sexton forced to watch now. Geordie Murphy, isn't he? He's just come on for that man, Dan Levy. Murphy, who is Ulster-bound, got to lift the cup in Bilbao, was called forward by his teammates. His captain, Ethan Lefay, were to be part of that very special moment.
What a season for Levy. Third choice Leinster when he started. Probably the #1 open side in Europe as the season finishes. Wow.
Yeah, that's some rise. It's Carberry to Ringrose to Lowe. Takes on McNichol again. They've had a terrific contest, those two, all afternoon.
Stay out. Right, no quick.
McNichol looking for a quick one, but Leinster had enough.
Good leg drive there by Lowe, but he needs to stay in touch. He needs to stay out of touch, sorry. With Carberry, they certainly don't lose any flatness to their play, and that's been a hallmark of Leinster's best play throughout this season, but in particular in this game.
I'm going to give you a mark every time.
Just that icy brain, isn't it? Sexton gets the ball and things seem as if time is on his side. Carberry, a brilliant runner, but he's just got to take cool control.
Taken by Bulbring. He started the season against one of his former sides, the Southern Kings. Parga Scarlets, all those months back in the sunshine in September. And they started their defence of the title. It's Leinster at the moment with hands on the trophy. Luke McGrath to James Ryan, who just keeps on going. No dip in his contribution or effort level. Ringrose. Carberry. And he's through. Carberry on. Luke McGrath got support from Conan. Conan under the post. That's the one now. In a season they will never forget.
Lovely footwork from Joey Carberry. I must say, from my position, I thought there was a suspicion of a forward pass when that wasn't given, though. It was a 2-on-1. Leinster always going to score it. Watch it here. McGrath's played really well. There's double step to take it past Parks. I thought that is a forward pass there.
Look at this. That is just special footwork. It's incredible. Park no mug either.
Oh, that...
I think that ball's all right.
No, you would.
But Conan is renowned for his work rate. A player who gets on the end of so many finishes because he runs great lines back on the inside. There was only a chance that ball was going to come back that way, but he was there to take it.
He always runs that line. He'll go straight up and down that field. Great support play. Very good. It's marvellous try there. So I thought it was a shade forward. Shane didn't. Doesn't really matter.
Well, what matters is Stuart Berry didn't feel the need to refer it, or TM O'Neill-Patterson didn't feel the need to step in. Stepping out there was Joey Carberry. Then it's Luke McGrath, and Conan knew he was the extra man. He was readying himself for that moment, which could be the one that seals it. Shane.
Turn a blind eye to the perhaps forward pass because the footwork was so good. And that's why Leinster fans in particular want Joey Carberry to stick around this province. A lot of talk about him going to Munster now, and potentially could end up there to get more game time.
Up comes Harpenny.
No blue!
Terrific take. At the moment it's the same margin as the Champions Cup semi-final. I'm not sure Leinster are motivated by things like records, but in their sights, if they do know it, Scarlets 46 points of last season record score in the final, record margin of 24 in their victory against Munster. And they will just be going for a thumping, whatever that means at the end of the match. Good offloading here from the Scarlets, so that's lovely play.
Backwards
and Jones couldn't get onto it, then it's kicked downfield by try scorer Conan, and James Lowe's after this, and there's some tired bodies out there. There's another James Davis, who gets there first, but Conan kept going, covered the ground. Ball's loose, and somebody needs to get there for the Scarlets, and they do. Patchell, there's plenty of men if they want to move it to the left. Scott Williams looks at that, sees the possibilities.
Tackler go. Okay, ball's available.
Parks to Ken Owens. He got to go on the podium last year but didn't play in the match. Very different story 12 months on. Rob Kearney looking for Lowe. And he can't take the ball with him.
James Davis has an engine on him. He has really worked the last few minutes. He's sprinting to get back, made a brilliant save, and then he's hunting down James Lowe. Lost cause though.
Here we see this again. He almost has a double step, a jump step into it, and then another hop step. Plants two ways. It looks he's going on the inside, and then curves his body on the outside. As I said, you know, Hadley Parks is no mug of a defender. It's not a front rower a tired front rower he's up against.
I tell you who that is. That is Quade Cooper at his best. That is the exact Cooper step.
So we've had Campese on the scoop off the floor. We've had Cooper's feet.
You wanted to play him at 12. Are you still a great fan of Carberry at 12?
I do, actually. I love him playing potential to play two first receivers. The problem with Leinster and Ireland at the moment, they've such good centres and such quality. It's very difficult to squeeze this guy to the team anywhere, and that's one of the reasons that he's looking, or certainly the IRFU want him to look at different provinces.
Jonathan Evans on at scrum half for the Scarlets, and Tom Pridey into the back line as well. There is Evans, gets his first touch. Pridey as well, here's Patchell. And then Williams wide to McNichol. McNichol, little chip over the top. But he knew as soon as he kicked it that was drifting out.
I tell you, that was a really nice pass from Scott Williams, who's one of the Scarlets who has stood up really well here. And it's unfortunately for Nichol, that's about his first error there. He's a lovely player, but it's forlorn. McGrath's going. If he had to make a point to Joe Smith, he made it in the best possible way today. Very good game.
He certainly did. You know, rush back to get to that, playing that final from injury, and he has had a top class performance today.
Ryan Elias on for Ken Owens, Dan Jones for Rhys Patchell. So that's the whole of the bench emptied by, I think, both teams now, with Nick McCarthy on for Luke McGrath. Yeah, confirmed that. Everybody off the bench now. Taken by McNichol. Even though he's going to end up on the losing side, has certainly played his part in this final. Halfpenny as well. Can't doubt his industry. Wyn Jones. There's Hadley Parks. Evans close to the touchline. Big Porter around him. Penalty coming at the side. Still 7 minutes here for Leinster to add to build the pain for the Scarlets, the champions, who now know.
Yeah, no pressure, just playing for fun. Wanted to, you know, express themselves and move the ball around. It's a dangerous position for Scarlets to be in, not just from the scoreboard or for the result, but as we saw with that amazing break from Joey Carberry, you can get embarrassed when these players are on song.
It's taking their time getting to the line out, the Scarlets now. Will Boyd. Evans. And here comes James Davis. Picked a good line, just couldn't deliver the pass that time, but Halfpenny, oh, nicely out the back to McNichol. In goes Devon Toner. Talk about motors, the big man's got one as well. You've got a big motor. Here's McNichol, slippery again.
Attack here, attack!
Parks. Bullbring. Parks again. And Jones. There's Toner. Of the giant motor. Pridey.
Battering ram with a motor.
And it's that lock combination, James Ryan. Stayed on with Fardy going into the back row. What a combination they're proving to be for Leinster. And the experience of Toner and Ryan just making a mockery of his 21 years of age. 23 out of 23 today for James Ryan as a pro player. Parks standing in at scrum half a lot at the moment just to keep it going. There's Scott Williams. And Jones, and there's a target there for McGrath and also for Ringrose, who just can't take it. As Leinster look for that extra score. So, man of the match thoughts, Stuart?
Well, he was only on the field 63 minutes, but from start to finish, Johnny Sexton imposed himself. It was a performance of intelligence, of incision, of real authority. There are many different ways to play fly half. You can be brilliant with your footwork like Beauden Barrett. You can be brilliant with your brain and your kicking game like Johnny Sexton. He is our Guinness man of the match. Go on, smile, Johnny.
Well, he almost tortured the water bottle microphone there offered to him.
And when he plays well, whether they're playing for Ireland, for Leinster, you generally think that that team is going to win.
He has smiled. Very modest man, isn't he? Very modest, but he is a world-class talent.
How much
absolutely
cotton? Sorry, Mars. How much cotton wool has Joe Schmidt bought for that man between here and Japan? There must be tons of the stuff in the Sexton household.
Well, he doesn't play like he uses any.
No.
Penalty at the scrum for the Scarlets. Just confirming that if you want to see Ireland this summer, it is courtesy of Sky Sports. First test coming up week on Saturday. What a series that promises to be.
And Leinster have played so well today, but I do think Stuart Berry was probably a good referee for them. You know, he really favoured the attacking team at ruck time. You know, Scarlets tried to get into it, tried to slow up, but just weren't allowed.
Here we go, the Scarlets just keeping it tight here. McNichol to Parks, they've got another penalty. And just like in the semi-final, the Scarlets trying to at least finish strongly. And Pridey plucking out the air. Shunt in there from Ringrose and Lowe. Jones, Elias. Left to Scott Williams, here's Dan Jones, Hadley Parks, James Davis. Who scored at the end of last season's final, that was a celebration score. In the realms of the consolation again on this ground, just a month on from when they did it before. Here's Werner Krea, South African, looks like he might have got that on the line. There's hands all over it, but the ball is definitely at least on the line.
Once again, the hands of Johnny McNichol, quite beautiful. Crossfield kicks, little hounds. Have we got a grounding? The Kiwi says most definitely.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yes, Stu.
Is there any reason I cannot award this try?
No, you may award the try.
Thank you.
Didn't take long.
No, I was never going to that one.
I'd like to see that attack again. Johnny McNichol with his right foot put a Sexton-like kick across. He then gets in midfield and a superb little reverse pass there.
The trajectory of that kick was absolutely perfect. It's low, it's a pleasure, it's exactly what you want to attack if you're a winger. But Carney does well, he doesn't get the ball, but he doesn't allow the Scarlets attacker to move when he hits the ground.
And then the offload that came, Miles, afterwards was, if anything, even better. In a team that have been well and truly hammered today, there's no other word that will do. He has been superb. Watch this again. We're back in the game. Just believe me, he's been good.
He's called the ball, McNichol on the restart. I think the Scarlets have proved again they've got plenty of character, and they get to where they've got in the game in recent times without showing that, of course, but finishing strongly in a game at the Aviva Stadium where they've been well beaten. Because they won't like the well-beaten bit, but at least they can hold their heads high. The way they conduct themselves in the final 10 minutes of the matches they played on this ground this season has been admirable.
Well, they're one of the best teams in Britain, Miles, but today we've been reminded they're playing the best team in Europe this season.
Who are about to claim the double, the first side outside of France and England to do that. Claim their domestic competition in the same year that they won the European Cup. But Leinster are going to their 5th Pro14 title. Just a matter of seconds now before that is officially confirmed. Something we've known for quite a long time in this match. There is the hooter. Hooter's celebration. Byrne tries to bring it away. Not quite going to be a record score, record win in the final, well, unless they can turn this over and get that extra score. Because the Scarlets have monopolised possession at the end, much to their credit. McNichol still fighting, on to Williams. Scott Williams at the touchline. He's managed to stay in. Look at this for defiance. Trying to find a way now to the try line. Carberry, offload, McNichol. He's got a third. He has got a third. Admirable is the word.
Okay, we'll take a look now as we go there.
Well, and if it has been scored, Stuart,
just checking foot and touch.
The Scarlets have proved that they can make teams have no answer when they play like that. Was he in touch?
No,
he was not.
It's a hat-trick from McNichol.
Yeah, not the grinding,
and if the Scarlets won, he would have run away with man of the match, because he has done absolutely everything. Started this try onwards, that outside break, and again, the offload we didn't see for the last try. You see it to Scott Williams, and he's got 20 metres to make up here, Shane.
Yeah, he does phenomenally well, but no matter for Leinster, you know, working back that hard when the game is over, they know they haven't won, they've won a title, and he's done really well to stay in. It's a fantastic try, but it won't dampen the celebrations of Leinster. A year like no other.
Yeah.
Stu,
but when they play like that, they are the team, the Scarlets, who could make rugby look like the beautiful game.
It's a glorious try, and it's a very good team, but they haven't quite had the power and precision of their opponents today, but they've made it a very entertaining final.
The trophy will be taken from their grasp. Lee Halfpenny, the professional, the perfectionist that he is going through his routine for this touchline conversion. Try and make it 40-32, which offers a bit of respectability to it. And Halfpenny sends it through, as you knew he would. Well done to him, well done to the Scarlets at the end, but most importantly, well done to Leinster. It's the double, the season they dreamt of, and more importantly, the season they believe could happen. Issa Nathewa injured going into the final, couldn't make too much of the game itself, but he hobbles out there now to join in the well-deserved celebration. Leinster, the best team in Europe, and they further proved that point in their domestic competition by winning today as well.
You just felt that after the semi-final here, when they demolished the Scarlets, they were on a slight downward spiral. Even though they were winning, the Scarlets seemed to be on an upward trajectory. You thought that it might just meet and give us a real classic close game today. Well, there's only 8 points in it as opposed to 22 last time, but don't let that deceive you. Leinster controlled this game from the start until the finish. No one had more control than that man, Johnny Sexton.
They're getting used to lifting cups again, and it feels so good for them. To us who watch, it really does feel like Leinster are a team at the start of something very special again here. A new era to savour looks around the corner. The double. Isa.